Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over the top 5 heroes for the safe lane, mid lane, and then the off lane. I'm not covering the support role today because supports don't matter and you guys should all quit Dota. No, but in all seriousness, let's start off with the safe lane. I'm really excited to kind of go through these lists and give you guys an update on what I think are the best heroes because things have really been shaken up a bit. And some heroes, honestly, I'm still trying to figure them out fully. I have a general grasp on why I believe in all of these heroes, but I'm going to have to kind of ask you guys even some questions like, why do you think these heroes are broken? Because it's a little bit unclear. We're only, 4 days into the patch? We haven't had a lot of time to go over it, but there's certainly some heroes that seem to stand out. And so if you're not playing them, you certainly should be, and let's get into it. And also another quick thing, so I just want to let you guys know that the Gamely website is 50% off right now if you use code DOTA733. I'm saying that because over there, I'm covering every build I want to talk about. Yes, I want to do that on YouTube, and I will be making plenty of videos here on this YouTube channel, but I can't cover everything on YouTube. There's just too much to talk about. So a lot of the videos, a lot of the discussions and builds that I want you guys to try are going to be over on the website. I'm going to be posting over there 2 videos a day, a lot of videos to check out. And so yeah, go subscribe. All right, let's start off with the safe lane and get into the 5th best hero, and that is Riki. Now, Riki actually might be the best hero for pubs on average. In fact, the hero currently has a 60, which is unbelievable. Anytime you hear 60% win rate, you guys should go, oh my, 60%? Yeah, Riki currently has a 60% win rate on Dota buff since the patch, which is crazy, right? It's just insane. And let's talk about why. So this is about a 7% increase for the hero, and it's certainly not out of nowhere. So Riki got a couple of changes. Number 1 is smokescreen. Now when you use it, it reduces armor by 7, which is certainly good for core Riki. I think Riki as a support is pretty bad nowadays and generally shouldn't be picked, even though it actually has some viability and certainly isn't the worst thing in the world. If you are going to go support Riki and you want to try it out, just go something like Treads, Wand, Wraithband, Diffusal Blade, something like that. But okay, the shard now, it upgrades smokescreen. It reduces armor by 7, which is good for core Riki. And on top of that, it cannot be targeted by allies. So anyone inside of the smokescreen cannot be graved, cannot be oracle ultied, apparently cannot be force-staffed, glimmer caped, anything like that. That's huge. That's insane. The main way to save someone getting chain stunned in a smokescreen or getting stuck in a smokescreen is to force staff them. If you can't do that, well, you can't do that. It's as simple as that. And an interesting thing about Riki is, yeah, he probably doesn't want to buy the shard necessarily because the hero doesn't accrue gold too fast unless it's 20-0. However, you're going to get it from the tormentors around the map. I guess if your teammates have them already, right? Unfortunately, it tends not to go to the cores, but you get the point, right? It certainly can be nice to get it from that. But the biggest change is the talents and the cloak and dagger change. Now you get an experience bonus for kills and assists. If you get a kill with level 1 cloak and dagger, which is your ulti, you get 150 XP. That's a lot of XP. Keep in mind the first wisdom rune of the game gives 260 XP, and that's a pretty big deal to get it. Like, support players die for that thing. So when you get a kill as Riki, you get 150. When you get an assist, which is very casual, you get 100. Not bad. When you get to level 2, it's 250 and then 350. So this hero that wants to fight and snowball off fighting gets basically like track except with XP for free. It's just a huge buff. Now, in terms of talents, at level 10, he now gets 8% Cloak and Dagger movement speed instead of Blink Strike Slow. And now, Blink Strike Slow is a good talent, but 8% movement speed is insanely high, right? Yes, you have to be invis to get the value, but it doesn't matter. It's just a good talent. Like, it really is just a solid damn talent. And so it's certainly something you can take. Now, you're taking it over Smokescreen Radius, so it's kind of a tough one, but the big one here is at level 15. You get 50% Tricks of the Trade agility increase. 50%! The ability goes up to 100% of your agility. This is a 50% increase, right? 50%. That is huge, because at some point in the game, when you have Ag's Diffusal, which I think typically should be the build, when you get to this point, you chunk supports with Tricks of the Trade, with old Tricks of the Trade. Now, when you hit level 15, which it's not hard to do with the Cloak and Dagger XP bonus, you're chunking. And so I really think that the Diffusal Ags into like a shard build on Riki core is very, very deadly. Hard to play against, he can play active and just kill all the people farming. I will say he doesn't take advantage of all the camps around the map, but you kind of just take a different approach and kill everyone, which works when no one knows what they're doing in the new patch, especially. Getting into the 4th best carry with Muerta. I'm not going to say too much about Muerta because the hero got nerfed, except It benefits a lot from there being a billion defensive camps on the map because Muerta's a pretty gankable hero. It doesn't have true disengage. It's not like it's some like Animage with counterspell. You know, Deadshot, you have to react. The calling, you have to react. You have to place it properly. And your ulti, it doesn't save you from magic damage in the early game. So this hero kind of wants to play like a PL and sit on the outside of the map, take all the defensive camps, and then TP into fights. And so the new map setup certainly benefits the hero, and that's going to be something we talk about through a lot of the heroes on this list. Muerta definitely likes that. She got nerfed for the most part, but at the end of the day, she got one of the biggest buffs in the game, which is BKB only reduces 50% of magical damage. In the previous patch, if someone BKB'd, Muerta did 0 damage to them when she was ultiing. Now she does 50%. That's pretty good, considering she does way too much damage. It's really not bad, even when they're BKB'd. So yeah, she got that major change, and frankly, I think the hero is just kind of stupid. It's a stupid laner, farms fast, scales well. It's just very, 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 very well-rounded. It's the better nature's prophet of this patch, considering that hero got gutted. I think NP is honestly a little bit better than people are giving it credit for. I don't think it's that bad, but still, it's the way better MP right now. And so if you're looking for a mid carry, Lena's out, MP's out, you got your Muerta. She's pretty stupid. All right, then we're getting into Alchemist. I think Alchemist should be way higher on the list. I think this hero is hyper broken, but it can be a little bit clunky to scale with. You got to know the item builds. I actually just made a video on it on the website, so if you want to check that out, I recommend you go do that. But yeah, Alchemist, it's easy to talk about it for me. I've played a lot of games with this hero. It's my favorite hero of the patch. It gets Grievous Greed at level 1. It gets a level 2 Grievous Greed at level 1. For bounty runes, every bounty rune your team gets at level 1, you get 80 gold instead of 40. That's huge. It snowballs your laning stage. Every bounty rune after that, you get double the gold too. So you can get like 100 gold off the second bounty runes. That's huge. You know, every last you get in the early laning stage, you get bonus gold. Previously you wouldn't. If you get kills with Concoction, you still get to have Grievous Greed. This hero is just a way better laner. It's just not even remotely close. His early laning stage is good. It's just good. And talking about heroes that benefit from the mass amount of camps, Alchemist is certainly one of them. When he hits that Radiance timing, it just goes crazy and it farms up a stupid amount of net worth. So good laner, hard to shut down, can take all the defensive camps, hit some nasty timings. And when it comes to like scaling and continuing the farm, the later the game goes, Alch used to fall off. I don't really think the hero falls off that hard anymore. Yes, it won't 1v1 the enemy carry. That's not what you're trying to do most of the game. Most games you're trying to end the game around 30 minutes. But if the game does happen to go late, you just give out Ags, Moon Shards. You can farm your Shard. You can farm Overwhelming Blink. You know what I mean? There's just so much room of progression in Dota right now where I really feel like Alch's just in a good spot. And this 53% win rate certainly backs that up. Now we get into Bristle back. I think Bristle as a safer and offlane is good. I intentionally did not put him in the offlane category because I didn't want to overlap too much in this video. There will be a little bit of overlap, but I didn't want to overlap too much. And for everyone who's an offlaner, yes, you can play him offlane as well. But basically, this hero, even though I think he got mostly buffed as a offlaner, funny enough, it's like really good even as a safe laner. And the reason why is the change it got was to benefit where if it procs Quill Spray from Bristleback, you get a Warpath stack. And that's good for carry and offlane. Basically, if the enemy's hitting you in the back, you're going to get Warpath stacks, and that's going to allow you to hit them for harder, and that's going to allow you to do a lot more damage, especially when you do not have your Ags. Because casting Nasal Goo, Viscous Nasal Goo, is clunky early on. It's very clunky. You have to turn, you have to cast it, you might not even have a point in it, depending on the build you're going. So being able to just turn around and get stacks is huge. On top of that, he got one of the biggest buffs of the patch, which is if Bristle gets hit in the back for more than 200 damage, which is the threshold to proc quills, right? If he gets hit for more than that, it maintains the remainder of the damage and puts it towards the next quill. So previously, let's say you got hit for a 300 damage nuke, you would proc once, and then you would need another 200 damage before the next quill. Now, if you get hit by a 300 damage nuke, you proc, and then you have only 100 more till the next nuke. And if you get hit by a 400 damage nuke, you quill twice. This is freaking massive. So whether or not you're going some sort of Vanguard, Treads got buffed, by the way. Very good for Bristleback. Actually, significantly, they give 10 more movement speed. It's a big deal. But Treads got buffed. Even if you're going Vanguard, Treads into sort of like BKB Ags AC, which is like a standard carry build into Abyssal Blade, or you're going some sort of like Bloodstone, Eternal Shroud, Vanguard, Mana Boots, you know what I mean, like that sort of route, both are very good, both heavily benefited from the recent buffs, and so I definitely recommend playing Bristle. I think the hero also heavily benefits from the Ancients. If your team can, if you have friends which I know you probably don't, but if you have friends, then you can tell them, hey guys, make stacks. And if you pick a hero that can stack both the camps at the same time, like a Chen or an Ench or something like that, you can have giga ancient stacks for these heroes, and it can get dirty real quick. All right, and finally, the last hero is Venomancer, who barely got buffed. The hero hits from further away, which is good in the laning stage. You got 75 attack range, which it actually is noticeable. Like, it allows you to get that last hit off when trying to kill someone, allows you to last hit from a safer distance, aggro camps from further away. It matters, but okay, this hero gained 10% in win rate. Is that from attack range? Probably not. It got a new Ags. Actually, the Ags is the old shard, but it's a little bit better. But that's not enough for 10%, and it got a shard where you can turn invisible and you make a clone. It's a good shard, I will admit. It's a good shard, it lets you disengage, but most people don't buy it until after their 4th or 5th item. So does that warrant a 10% change? No, so why in the world is PL so good? Okay. Well, honestly, I'm not exactly sure. Heart of Taras got nerfed, Diffusal has an upgrade, but once again, people don't tend to buy it. So either PL is bugged, or this map setup is so good for PL that it allows him to be the best carry of the patch. And I actually think that's kind of the major reason. I think the fact that PL can take defensive camps enables the hero to be good. And if you think I'm kidding, well, I'm not. So basically, yeah, the reason why PL is good right now, at least as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that previously in the old patch, if PL was having a bad game, what he would do is TP to his offlaner's lane, steal their tower last hit, steal all of their farm, step on their toes, and ruin their teammates' games. And that's what you had to do. It wasn't even that they were necessarily playing bad. You had to do that. Otherwise, you would just get kicked out of your jungle. It was too easy for the enemies to take your safe lane tower, move into your jungle, take advantage of those camps, and force PL across the map. PL couldn't deal with this. The game was a little bit too fast in that way. Now, heroes like Sven, Muerta, and PL seem to be getting a little bit more popular. And the reason why is, even if their game is hard, there's so many camps to dodge with. When PL gets to his Diffusal Blade timing, he can start to farm 2 ancient camps per minute. It's just, you have more options to recover and hit your timings, and you can recover and hit your timings without griefing your teammates. Basically, the way to beat PL in the past was you didn't even have to shut him down. He just shut his teammates down, and then he shut his teammates down harder, and then the game would end. He would have a bunch of farm, but he was the only one who did anything. Now you can have PL without griefing your teammates, and I really think that sets up for a dangerous late game, and the win rate shows that. All right, moving into mid laners, Riki. Okay, I'm not going to talk about Riki again. I already talked about Riki, but man, this hero is just too good right now. It's good as a mid. You can go Meteor Hammer instead of the Diffusal Rush. Meteor Hammer did get nerfed a little bit, but the ring of health build-up's very good for Riki, like the mana regen as well, and it allows you to take the mid tower. Unfortunately, the Meteor Hammer is way worse because Sleeping Dart is no longer in the game, so you do have the option to just go something like Ring of Health, casual Ring of Health, even though the Meteor Hammer, by the way, it's still good because it lets you push in waves as Riki, lets you take the mid tower, right? And you can still use it from invis, which is nice for setting them on people who don't see you. But considering you don't have the sharp, you can just go some sort of treads, wand, raindrops, and then into Wraithband. Because of the fact that Meteor Hammer is worse, I do recommend this hero more as a safe laner, but compared to all the other mids, which a lot of them just didn't get buffed, I'm not gonna lie, this is not the patch of mid. Like, obviously you can still dominate from mid, but it's just not like, oh my god, there's so many broken mid heroes. Like, I think this is more of a patch where it's like, there's a couple of broken offlaners, a couple of broken safe laners, and then mid, it's about knowing how to enable them, which is really going to cause you to gain MMR. There's some solo carry heroes, and I definitely think Riki can be one of them, especially considering mid Riki can get a lot of levels, and then abuse the fact that very early on into the game, if it runs around and just gets a bunch of kills and assists, it's going to jack up in levels faster than any other hero. Yeah, just snowball like crazy off kills and assists now with this hero. So yeah, as a mid, early Cloak and Dagger, early assists, early kills, it just snowballs hard and fast. Then we have Void Spirit. Void Spirit's a really interesting hero because he's universal now. However, most universal heroes got heavy stat nerfs. However, Void Spirit is kind of the exception here. They didn't really nerf his stats hard, but he's a universal hero. So basically, Void Spirit has some of the highest base damage in the game, and this made him a way better laner. The way the hero is being played now is actually as a right clicker, and the win rate shows. People seem to be adapting to it quickly because it's 4% up in terms of win rate, and I believe a lot of people probably still are going like an E-Blade build, which is just not great on this hero. You're way better off as playing like a right clicker. The starting item build that people tend to be going is like 4 branches, circlet, tangos. You can still rush bottle, and you definitely should, but from there you just buy a lot of stats. You go wand, you go Treads. After Treads, you go Echo Saber, which gives you the sustain you need. And you play around a right-click build. After Treads, I've seen a lot of different options. Some people go Witchblade, which is kind of redundant with Echo Saber. Some people go Kaya Sange, and they try to scale from there. Gives you a little bit of mana, which is nice and still helps with the burst. But then you see like a Deso Daedalus BKB, sometimes AC. Like, it's pretty crazy, man. People are just straight up going right-click on Void Spirit, and it looks pretty good. I played it in Overthrow, which is like the Dota minigame that's kind of like mini Dota. And even with no buffs, I'm not going to get too much into Overthrow, but basically even without buffs, my hero just felt insanely good at trading. Like, I was just out trading people. Buying stat items and stacking the stat items, you're just so powerful early on. Like, very, very powerful. So I think that's what people are playing off. You just feel strong, and it's easier than ever to roam with this hero because of the portals, so you can play very active with Void Spirit. Then we have Legion Commander. I know I could... Yes, this hero's on the offlane list too. All right, I know. But it's just a good mid. I watched 9 play it, and I'm thinking about what is the best in pubs. And I think Legion Commander is one of the best pub mid laners in the game. Basically, the overwhelming odds is very powerful now. It's easy to play with because what you can do is you can blink Blade Mail Duel, then you can click your attack speed buff. And cool enough, if you buy your shard, instead of 5 seconds of 140 attack speed, you get 8 seconds. It's pretty awesome, right? It's a lot of attack speed for a long time. And you can really abuse it to farm. So big fan of the Legion shard, big fan of the changes to overwhelming odds, making it just shoot overwhelming odds in a 600 radius around you now. And it definitely looks pretty good in lane in terms of farming. I just think it, like, the ease of execution on Legion Commander now, being that you only have to put 1 point and press the attack and you can max your Q and max your E, just looks and feels fantastic. Because previously, if you wanted high attack speed, you had to max press the attack. Then you sacrificed farming because you don't have your E, or your mana potential because you don't have your E, or you sacrificed your early nuke damage and farming potential because of you don't have overwhelming odds. Now, I feel like you get the best of both worlds, where if you want to duel someone, you can just use overwhelming odds. And that's great, because even if you lose the duel, after the duel, you can click press the attack and dispel yourself. Well, not lose the duel, I'm sorry. But even if you don't win the duel, like you don't end the duel, because if you end the duel and you win the duel, you get press the attack, so you don't have to press the attack yourself. But now, even if the duel just ends, and let's say you get like Gale, Daggered, eventually Frostbite, you'll still have press the attack off cooldown, and you can use it to save yourself afterwards. Even, like, let's say you do win the duel and you press the attack, because that's what happens, and it dispels things, then people will still cast spells on you because you committed in, but you still have press the attack, so you can like double press the attack. You just have better options now. It's easier to execute because you can blink Blade Mail Duel, then overwhelming odds during the duel. That was one of the changes they made. So it just feels like an easier to play hero. It was already a good pub hero. It takes advantage of the amount of camps on the map because it's a very fast farming hero. If you want to play that way, it certainly can do that. Or it can just hide in all the billion tree lines that there are and look for pickoffs off cooldown. So very good in this current meta. I think it's a hero we'll be seeing more of even in the pro scene. It doesn't buy auras, which makes it a bit tough in the pro scene, I think. That's something that we might see going forward. But yeah, if the game isn't like an aura game and it's like a pickoff game, Legion, incredibly good. Then we have Death Prophet. I'm going to spend 0 time on it. The hero didn't get changed. In fact, I think it got nerfed, but it's still good. It opens up the map. It wins its lane. I just can't ignore it. It's good. People are going to forget about it. It's boring, I know, but it's still good. A more interesting hero is Skyrath Mage. Skyrath Mage is, it's cool, man. Anytime you press your max Q on someone, you get 50% spell lifesteal on that target, and your ulti also does the same amount of damage in 0.2 less seconds. Now, this might not seem insane, but also your shard is very good. It gives you armor and int. Int also, when you get enough of it, gives you magic resist. So basically, your hero, when it buys shard, gets magic resist and armor, and becomes very tanky. You can get very tanky. You can buy a Bloodstone, that gives you a bunch of health. When you buy a Bloodstone, you also Q someone, so you get spell lifesteal from your Bloodstone, spell lifesteal from your Q, and then you nuke someone, and you get all your health back. I also think that there's a lot of different tech you can try on this. You can go Kaya Sange to really amp up your magic damage and get tanky. Considering your Q spell lifesteals now, it makes a lot of sense to build HP on this hero and play off spell lifesteal amp, which Kaya Sange gives you. So this item makes so much sense on Skyrath Mage. So does E-Blade, so you can go that route as well. Then you can go Ags, because if you Q someone, you might be like, oh, but the Ags isn't good. It does damage to 2 different people. That doesn't really take advantage of the spell lifesteal on the main target. You're right, but you're also wrong, because at level 15, Skyrath Mage gets +1 Arcane Bolt. So you can Arcane Bolt 2 different heroes. So if you buy Ags, your Arcane Bolt actually way more than that. You can Arcane Bolt 3 heroes, you can Concussive Shot 2 heroes, Ulti 2 heroes, and you heal on all of it. and this hero just becomes untouchable, unkillable. It's a good laner, it roams well, it can play very high tempo with the portals, so it like previously, if you ganked the lane, it was like you kind of got stuck there, right? If you wanted to go back mid, you had the TP, but now it's like you can gank top, you can go bottom, kill bottom, and then TP mid. Right, and it just allows your hero and these roamers to be way more effective. And so Sky mid is super legit, and I think a lot more people should be trying it. It has a lot of potential. And finally, let's get into offlaners. For the 5th hero on the list, we have Legion Commander. I'm not going to spend much time on it because it's, I talked about it, it's just good. Then we have Venomancer. Venomancer is a very interesting one. The change to his ulti, honestly, I think his new ulti is better than his old ulti. In terms of like hitting it at level 6. The old one, it was just kind of clunky. It didn't do fatal damage. This new one, it does a flat 200 damage. Very good in the early game. Very, very nice. And then it also does max HP per damage. So it does a ton of damage, and then it spreads. And it spreads in a huge radius when it expires. So it tends to hit the other people around it and does a crazy amount of damage. Like a crazy amount of damage. Also, this hero can farm ancients like crazy. It just farms the triangle. It can buy its old ult with Ags. Well, it's basically the same. And so this hero just does like criminal amounts of damage. I mean, it's wild. You get hit by its kernel, and then you buy an axe, and it's ult, and you get hit by both. You just tick out. Like there's no other way to put it. Like late game, you just take like 10% of your max HP per second for like 10 seconds. That's 100% of your health. Yeah, but that is actually almost exactly what it is. I'm slightly over exaggerating, but that's like nearly exactly what it is. That's pretty crazy. Veno just scales like a beast. Dominant laner as long as you don't get run at, which people tend not to do in pubs. And so, yeah, it's a very, very strong hero right now. Then we have Alchemist. I talked about it in the safe lane list, so I don't want to say too much because I'll be repeating myself over and over again. But Alchemist as an offlaner, there's just a lot of camps. You can basically have 2 safe laners nowadays, and you almost should have 2 safe laners nowadays, which is why Veno is good. Legion is basically a second safe laner in a lot of games. Alk is a second safe laner. You know who else is a second safe laner? Doom. Doom with Vanguard in the mana boots, and then you buy Midas, and then you disassemble the Vanguard and mana boots into Octarine, and then you have a low cooldown Midas, a low cooldown Devour, low cooldown Scorched Earth, Inferno Blade, and Doom. You can farm the entire map, and then because you disassembled your Vanguard and your mana boots, you have open boots, and then you can turn those boots into boots of travel. And then when you do that, you can buy a BKB and a Blink afterwards. You scale better than almost any other hero in the game. The Octarine core allows you to, with your level 20 talent, to have Doom almost always up. With good neutral items, you can have it almost always up with Quickening Charm. It's literally insane how hard you can scale. If your team needs auras, okay, whatever, auras are really broken right now. Sure, I'll go auras, I'll go Vanguard, I'll turn that Vanguard into Crimson, then I'll buy Greaves with the mana boots that I have. Then I can go a Pipe and a BKB and a Blink with my team, and then I can run around and do 1 billion damage because my level 10 talent is stupid. It's a Doom does everything right now, except the hero's win rate isn't high because people are bad at Dota. Just learn and watch some of the game loop guides on the website or on YouTube, and this hero's really stupid. But in terms of the most simple hero in the game that takes advantage of the ridiculous amount of camps, similar to PL, is Underlord. It was already a good hero. Crimson is very good right now. Vanguard is very, very broken in my opinion, and at least super solid at minimum. And so heroes like Doom, Alk, Underlord, who can buy a Vanguard, sit in the lane, bully the enemy safe laner, get free farm, take camps in the enemy's face with a Vanguard, are good. Doom does that, Alk does that, Underlord does that better than both of those heroes because it does it even safer. It can move around the map while it's doing it. It can take the most defensive camps in the game and still show up to the fights. It wipes through camps at level 15. You can take Firestorm cooldown, take more camps, and you just farm like a madman. The amount of games I'm seeing an Underlord with a 13-minute Vanguard Greaves is just insane. And then it has some 18-minute Pipe, and then a 22-minute Crimson. It's just too much for the enemy to deal with. Firestorm does a lot of damage. The portal allows you to take the Tormentors around the map without like going wildly out of position, because what would happen is, let's say you take a Tormentor. They're in very inconvenient locations, but if your team takes one, you can just portal to the other one or portal like wherever you want. If your team wants to contest Roche or wants to take Roche, they're in pretty weird spots of the map, right? But the Underlord portal lets you do that. With the map being 40% bigger, it's better than ever to have relocate, which is why IO is getting banned like crazy in the pro scene. And it's also really, really broken to have Underlord portal. His hero just takes advantage of the map. Auras are good, Vanguard's good, there's so many camps to farm, Underlord loves farming camps, the map is huge, the portal works, it's just too good in the current meta. We're going to be seeing a lot of Underlord in the pro scene, I'm sure of this. We're going to be seeing a lot of Underlord in pubs, I'm sure of this, and you definitely should be picking it as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope to see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace! And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.